Take the lead, boys.
Let's run it. Let me take a breath. Joining us today is a man who chose to break the mold and set sail on a journey none of us can relate to. A man who's too handsome he gets paid to model. He's about that salt life so much that he got his U.S. Coast Guard captain's license. He's an online fitness coach and founder of the brand called Naughty Fit, an organization that benefits American families who are not fortunate enough to feed themselves. This dude was on Below Deck Sailing Yacht Season 4, Winter House, and is still pursuing more roles in Fort Lauderdale. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Alex Propson.
Woo! Thank you for joining us.
What an intro. I feel like I just walked into like the Royal Rumble or something like that. I'm ready to go.
Well said. Well said.
I'm ready to go.
Yo, thank you for being here, man.
Yeah, no, very much.
Thanks for having me, guys.
How you doing today? How's everything?
I'm good, man. I'm cold. Wisconsin is hitting the temperature that usually makes me fly south. So I'm getting.
Do you dodge a lot of winters here?
I'm a winter dodger.
Yeah. I get it.
I have I look at the 7-day forecast, and that's how I book my flights usually. So I saw like on New Year's Day, it's plummeting. The temperature's plummeting.
Told you it was coming.
And that's right when I'm leaving. So it's been a good stay, and I'm glad I could close it out with you guys. So.
No, again, stoked to have you.
Yeah.
As an Appleton native, when you see what temperature on the forecast do you say fuck this?
Boy, so I spent.
Is that 30s? Is that 20s? Because Fort Lauderdale's
at this point, yeah.
More.
No, it's really just whenever my feet hit the ground. I'm just playing. I love it here, but I grew up. So I was here for 24-ish years before I went and lived everywhere, and
nomad life.
Yeah. I lived abroad for a little bit. I was in southern Thailand, and then I lived in Los Angeles, and then I'm now in southern Florida. So after like the first 6 months of not living here, I came back, and it was like mid-January, and it was just like I had never felt like my bones cold before. So that thick skin that I had for like 24 years was gone in like 6 months.
No, I can understand that, because you being newer to Wisconsin, especially with winters, lifer, born, raised Wisconsin, but caddied for a long time. And winters, I would just dip out and go up to Arizona.
Okay.
And I did it for like 6 years straight. And then my first year back, I think it was like it was 30 to 40 degrees out, and hit the wall real fast. And I was like, dude, what is this?
Yeah.
And everyone's like, you're from here. You should just be good. I'm like, no, that thick skin goes away real fast. So.
100%. So yeah, got a couple days left, but there are a couple action-packed days. So
Well, thank you for squeezing us in.
Yeah.
Seriously, man. That's a badass hat you got on too, by the way.
To be here. Thank you so much. This is Naughty Fit to everyone who's watching at home.
Tell us a little bit about
all you burners. So Naughty Fit was kind of like it started out as something that is very conceptual. It was like, haha, it would be funny if, I started this kind of play on words, nautical. I'm known for being poorly behaved. So it was kind of like naughty, nautical, but fitness has always been a major part of my life. So when I was done with the last couple of seasons of TV, and it had gained me some attention, a little bit of an audience, I was like, I kind of did the diagram, and the name of the type of diagram escapes me, with the 3 circles.
Venn diagram?
Is that what it is?
I think.
3 circles.
Venn diagram is 2. Well, might be 3 as well.
You have the 2 hoops that make the middle.
Okay, so I did a modified Venn diagram.
A naughtygram.
Yeah, a naughtygram. And it was basically like, all right, I have these people that are paying attention to everything I'm doing, more so than people would believe. So they're watching my every move. And I wanted to do something that was impactful, that was, gave something positive back to the world. And I wanted to do something that would allow me to live the lifestyle I want, nomadic, on the water, wherever I am. And I wanted to do something that I was good at. So prior to getting into yachting, prior to doing TV, prior to doing all that stuff, I worked as a personal trainer, and I managed a gym in the Fox Valley here.
Okay.
Experience Fitness, rest in peace. And so it kind of came full circle, and I was just like, all right, looking at this, and I was like, what are the things I'm good at? What are the things that will allow me the freedom to live, the lifestyle I want to live? And then what's something that I know is going to help other people? And that kind of brought me full circle in my career back to fitness. So,
cool.
Yeah, the building of Naughty Fit this last year has been an experience. You know, and there's no script for how to
Template.
start a business.
Yep.
So I have learned a lot of stuff, but it's in a good spot now. So
That's awesome.
Talked about that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I mean, it's represented well, at least from the image that I see right there on your forehead.
Yeah.
And just the quality of the hat itself. It looks like, I think from the description online, it's almost like a velvety front.
Yeah.
And then the trucker hat style backing. I love that. It breathes in the summertime and it doesn't look like it's going to get too thick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So when I started making content more regularly, more fitness content, when I work out, I always wear a hat. I need to.
Same.
Long hair gets in my face, gets nasty. So I always tie my hair back and I wear a hat. And the hats I would wear were these all black, you know, they look like this basically. They were from, you know, Amiri, or they were some form of a trucker hat. And that was in all my videos. So then when I went to like design a piece of Naughty Fit to be able to, you know, send out and give out, it was already kind of like a staple. So I just met with this company, put the design together, told them what I wanted, and like first draft came out epic. And since then, they've been getting shipped all over the world. So this holiday season, I decided to donate the proceeds to all these hats. So there's a link on my Instagram for these, but the proceeds are going to Feed My Starving Children, which is a super cool, well-vetted organization that's based here in the States, but works globally with starving families and children in low-income areas in impoverished countries. So it just turned into something that was like, okay, cool. Reinforces the whole purpose behind the company, gets the logo out there, gets people to be a part of it in a way. And originally I was just kind of for my clients. And then this December, I've shipped these to like, I think 12 different countries or something like
Holy
that.
shit.
Okay.
Congratulations, man. Seriously.
So they're around. Now, if you see the logo, that's what's going on. These people take care of themselves. It's an emblem for hard work, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
What originally started
And poor behavior.
what I think I read
Behavior.
on one of your posts was originally giving the hats was to clients to kind of reinforce that bond that you have with them as they're hitting these milestones. And then ever since that idea, it's just rapidly escalated. And because you're so service driven, you just tied in that connection that you had locally with your clients, whether it be online fitness or whatever, even your in-person clients, you tied that into now what is reaching globally.
Yeah. I mean, it's year one of this stuff. So that's what gets me excited is like that people are, I forget sometimes, you know, that people are watching what's going on and are watching the little videos I make and like see this stuff. So when I opened this up to the larger pool of people that follow me on social media, I was just like blown away by like the amount of people who reached out and were like, I would love to support it. I would love to do this. I love your logo. Some people just bought it because the hat was cool. You know, they're like, I love the logo. I think it's a cool hat.
It is an awesome logo.
Very awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. It's just been, the whole process has been a blessing. And I think on the service front, any business that like doesn't in some way have that as part of their core, you know, operative goals, you know, the foundation of what they do.
Those values.
What the fuck's the point?
Right.
You know?
Mm.
Yeah.
what a, you know, that shit's shallower than a Michael Bay movie if you just like
True.
running
That's a
around
good way
trying
to
to
put
make,
it.
you know, trying to make money and, you know, like the fuck, what am I going to do with funds? So it's cool. It's been a really cool journey.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, I guess from my side, just with that one being like in this first year, is that the main focus? Or are you opening it up to any kind of other entrepreneur type positionings?
Yeah. So the LLC is Naughty Man.
Okay.
And the original goal was to my original Michael Bay plan was to do like some men's hair care stuff.
Okay.
Because working on boats and having like long hair
Dries out.
Yeah. All right.
and there's so many yachties and like people on boats that do have, you know, tend to have more decorative flows. So originally it was going to be like something that, you know, the sea salt spray that I, you know, made, and I had like a couple samples made, and it was going to be this whole thing. And then I was like, you know what, let's start on the actual fun part of this. So there could be other parts to it. There could be other articles than a hat someday. There could be other services other than fitness. But for now, those are the things that I believe are the most important and the best way for me to, connect with other people. So
You write a book called Chronicles of the Naughty Man.
love that idea.
You know what I mean? And it's just your,
Dude,
just
animated.
your story.
Animated.
Preferably animated. Yeah. Like some,
You got bored. Yeah.
me with a trident or something would be cool.
There's all kinds of room.
I was about to say the
right
trident.
there.
I see the anchor and then the I don't even know what the rest is. I'm not the best.
Well, it's an N and an M, so it was Naughty Man.
Naughty Man.
is
Gotcha.
what it was.
Gotcha.
I was wondering, like, is that a sideways F?
Yeah. No, well, there's an F in there somewhere, I think. But yeah, it started as Naughty Man, so that was the logo. That was the original domain. That was everything, and then Naughty Fit was kind of just be like a part of it.
Yep.
But the response to that was so great, and I think I've worked with personally now over 100 people just this year in 2024 on fitness stuff.
Wow. Okay.
So it's been amazing. So I wasn't expecting it to be what it is now, and I think some of the best things in life are started that way.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna take it and rock with it until I get the inspiration to do something else. Until I care about hair again. But for now, we care about home base. It's all about the fitness.
That's awesome. No, I'm with that very much. So then, just from your side, just for anybody who is checking us out and checks this out, for Naughty Fit specifically, anybody that wants to check it out or get a hat, what's the easiest way? Do you have a straight website, or is it going to be through the Instagram?
Yeah, for now it's all through Instagram.
Okay.
That's the best place to find me. That's where I post all of the content is based on Instagram. It goes to other like YouTube and TikTok and stuff, but mostly it's on Instagram. So there's a link right in my bio directly to the hats. And those proceeds are going to Feed My Starving Children.
Super
so I
cool.
just sent them, they have like kind of the Feed My Starving Children website has kind of like a donation scale. And the first goal I had for December was to feed a family for a year. So
okay.
we hit
$250.
I think it's 500, something
Closer
like
to
that.
500.
Yeah. So we hit that in December, which is great.
Well done.
And they have like some other, objectives that
Milestones.
and they kind of show you exactly where all of that's going. And,
Terrific.
it's a cool setup. But yeah, website to come in Q1 of 2025.
Heard.
There's some tech in the works.
Awesome.
I'll allow more people to get connected. So that's hopefully Q1 of 2025.
Very cool.
So Naughty Fit's got big plans for the year.
Hell yeah, bro. I like hearing that, man. I like
always
that you're
good.
from Appleton and you're out there fucking blossoming.
On the grind. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fucking trying, man. It's sometimes you blossom and then you
We get it.
rot away and then you blossom harder and then you
We get it.
fall back.
Opportunities can be
That's-
seasonal.
Yeah.
Yes.
You just die in the winter and then you come back even harder in the spring. So yeah, I think I'm on one of the spring seasons here, which is great.
Well done. If you don't mind me tying back into fitness real quick,
Yeah.
with all the clients that you've had, when it comes to their recovery, what do you tend to push the most? And even speaking with you before show, I know you don't particularly don't push cannabis, but have any of your clients been outspoken about cannabis use potentially in their recovery, or just what would be your standard recovery ticket items?
Protocol. Yeah. So now that, or how should I start? Basically, like recovery when it comes to fitness and metabolism and muscle is number one. It's more important than the workouts themselves. It's the most important thing. Your body changes in the recovery phase of what you're doing. So when you're working out, you're breaking down your body and you're contracting and squeezing and tearing and stretching your muscle fibers. When you go to sleep every night, your body comes in and repairs all that, makes it stronger, builds new muscle. So that's the most important factor when somebody's trying to make a big transformative change is their recovery process. Nutrition is I would say the most important part of that. Quality sleep is a really important part of that. And then when it comes to soreness and it comes to injury, sometimes the topical things can be very, very helpful. So in the cannabis space, I have worked with people who swear by it. There's proteins in hemp. There's topical products that people have used to aid in recovery. And even from a rest standpoint, I know lots of people, I have a lot of clients in Los Angeles and other places that do, use cannabis as a way to recover and rest. So it can play a role, and the form that you consume it in, is really up to the user. But
100%.
I've used several different products and forms, some even from the dispensary plug. And, and so, I think that they can coincide. Definitely. I think they can support each other.
100%. Yeah, no, you mentioned like topicals, and that's one I always come back to. We have our D8 muscle rub, and on a medicinal level, it's one of the biggest ones I probably try to offer out to people, especially with like joint pain or just general soreness in different areas that's centralized. I always come back to it, because even if you don't want the full-on recreational effects of it, you can get that medical benefit. So topicals, when you mentioned that, I'm like, yeah. And when I go to work out, usually the next day is going to be our D8 muscle rub.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And I think that, obviously the legislation and the acceptance of cannabis and hemp products has changed significantly in the last decade or so.
It's still changing.
Continues to. Yeah. But I think that a lot of people don't even consider it, because they just assume it's all psychoactive, and it really isn't. It's a plant that was made for humans to use and consume. So there's a lot of different ways, and I know a lot of people specifically that use more of like the edible versions of it for the rest and relaxation.
Yeah.
So it's not all, Cheech and Chong anymore. It really is
one of our
a medicinal science at this point.
100%. One of our best selling items is our gummies. I would cross all of our states. Mm-hmm. I see gummies move very, very heavily, and a lot of the times the people are not using it. They'll able to get the recreational effects from it, but most are using it end of night, insomnia, trying to sleep, relax, come down on that, like come down from the day they spent at work or working out or doing whatever they were doing. So yeah, edibles. It amazes me, just because I grew up a big smoker. And I was always like, oh, I'll take an edible here, edible there. It's like an occasion thing. But now to see the amount that more individuals kind of hone in on edibles, it's kind of wild to me. Yeah. Which I get, and I totally understand it too. But it's just like, now that I'm working in the industry and I see how much edible wise pushes out, it is like, yeah, so many people use it for medicinal through the edible side.
Definitely. It's like even like I primarily fitness wise work with women. And there's a story behind that. My mom had a lot of health problems growing up, and that's just kind of where my heart is. But you'd be amazed, just specifically with women, because then it's not something that requires smoke and requires them to roll up and like use a grinder and all this stuff. Like the edibles just make sense. They
convenience-wise,
keep them in the top shelf of the pantry away from the kids, and they take them before bed, and it aids in recovery, which is fantastic.
100%.
Yeah.
Speaking of top shelf, not to be too cliche, I hate to do it. I did it. Speaking of top shelf, when you were below deck, what were some of the, if not the, we don't have all day, but what was that top shelf experience that you had initially, your first go at it?
Yeah. You mean just like working on a super yacht like that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, obviously coming from Wisconsin, it's not like, it's not like yachting is like, it is a thing here, but it's not like a big thing here.
You've seen it on TV. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like sailing around these incredible places. And truthfully, when you do it for a while, you get kind of numb to it. You forget to look up every once in a while and realize you aren't on Lake Poygan, So the first time that I actually worked on a super yacht was out of, when I was in Los Angeles, out of Marina del Rey. And you're kind of blown away, because like my background isn't in hospitality. A lot of people that get into yachting, like their background is in hospitality. They understand the level of service they're supposed to do. And me, I'm just like, working on the deck and a bunch of knots and, love
just boats. A kid that was raised right out here on the open.
Out the grind.
Yeah. So, but I think coming from the Midwest, there's a certain,
that Midwest niceness.
Yeah. There's a certain level of humanity that you're just kind of inherently raised with. So once I realized like what I was doing, and I watched people, my crew, serving with white gloves, and like the expectations for how clean things had to be, like that adjustment was significant. That was significant just to like get your skills up to that quality. Because you go to school for it, you have to take courses for it, you have to take safety courses through the Coast Guard, and like you have to get licenses and things like that to be able to work on boats in the first place. But they don't teach you all the service parts of it. So my first experience was, I would say, jolting. Maybe it was just like, holy shit! I actually am we really in this bitch, you know? I was just kind of like, all of a sudden, like on a super yacht in the middle of the ocean with like people paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a week to like for our service, and I was like, oh shit, what do I do that's even worth hundreds of thousands of dollars a week? You know,
big tip industry.
The answer was tie knots. Yeah. Well, I think most boats, like you're like a salaried employee basically. But because it's a service industry, it's heavily reliant on tips when you're doing it on a charter boat.
How did you so we're talking about your first experience, right? And it's jolting, but how did you end up in the first experience?
Excellent question. Yeah.
How
do you go from Wisconsin?
In Howard County. So in my head, I'm like, did you just like happen to be walking around and somebody was like,
Saw
hey, we need help? And you're like,
Honestly,
want a sail? Press this.
Honestly, kind of. So, so when I lived in Asia. I was living in southern Thailand, and I got while I was there, I got big into scuba diving. I'd never been scuba diving before. I'd never really lived near the ocean because I was in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Yep.
And went for the first time, blew my mind. I was like, this is what I want to spend the rest of my life doing, being on the water, you know, diving. Came back from Asia. That's when I had that mid-January cold experience. And I was like, all right, I think I'm ready to go somewhere near an ocean. Ended up in Los Angeles for a little while, and I was there for basically a year. And then COVID hit. So I was working in sales, and I was construction, and that's what majority of my background is in, real estate and construction. And then COVID hit, and the city of Los Angeles just completely shut down.
Yeah.
So I was kind of stuck, and I did literally nothing for 6 months. And the first thing that opened up in Los Angeles was the marina. So I was sitting there, hadn't worked in months, was like crazy cabin fever, just needed to go and do anything. Remembered how I felt when I was in Asia on the water and doing that. And I ended up going to the marina and literally just like walking around, and had no experience on boats or anything. Met this couple that was from Minnesota, actually.
Okay. All right.
So a Midwestern couple that had just bought their first yacht in the marina, and they were looking for somebody to help them run it. So they said, we'll teach you everything.
So it wasn't kind of walking around it? Wow.
Literally.
That room board will be paid for.
Yeah. Well, it was like one of those, just like so situational that it was just like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. So then I just started doing that, and it was like, you're making out. I went from making sales commission to making hourly pay.
Yeah.
So it was like, I wasn't there trying to get rich. And I was like, okay, this is a cool thing to do until the city opens back up. And then like after a month or two of doing it, I was like, shit, this could actually be something I really, really enjoy doing. And then, I did it for a few years, gained like all the hours and everything I needed to register as a captain with the Coast Guard, took a course, got my captain's license. And then it just kind of snowballed all the way till I was in Italy. so that's essentially.
He's a well-traveled man, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
One other question, just to piggyback off of what you just said. So you got your captain's license, right?
Yes.
You have to have that to be working on the yacht, or was that just like an additional step?
Extra.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that's what I thought, and I was like,
himself.
I was just
so there's levels to this shit.
Okay.
So if you want to. Also, I don't know if I'm supposed to be cursing or not. I don't know.
You're allowed to.
Family program.
100% allowed to.
I swear a lot.
You got a sailor's
swear
mouth.
like a sailor.
I swear like a sailor.
I was gonna say.
Shout out the audience today in the back of the studio. Got a pop out of that. You.
So basically, it depends on what you want to do with the industry. So the captain's license that I got is called a near coastal captain's license, which means that basically I am licensed to operate in the near coastal waters of the United States. That's where the license is good.
Gotcha.
That's what the Coast Guard monitors. There's also organizations that set you up with a similar license to work abroad, but mine, the training translates. It's like the same. So for me, when I was doing it, I wanted to work out of Marina del Rey, and then I moved to South Florida, and I was like, I'm just going to work in Fort Lauderdale and Miami. I'm going to take people out for the day, bring them back. That was kind of my
On yachts,
yeah. You just like a
On
day
yachts.
yacht. They're smaller boats. You
Okay.
take them out to party.
the captain's license is good for small boats and up to certain size.
Yeah, it goes by tonnage. So I
Oh.
have a 100-ton license.
Okay.
So in feet, that's
Was
like
that like
that's
a
like up,
50-footer?
is included. It can probably go up to like almost 100 feet,
It
depending on the
depends on how
boat,
tall of a yacht, right? Like the longer it is, that means it's heavy.
the build, the material, all that
Exactly.
stuff. Yeah. The LOA or the length of it.
So you're
Um,
good for a good beefy bitch.
You can get there's some bigger boats. But I pretty much my fucking vision, which I'm guilty of this in all facets in the beginning, is I tend to have small expectations. So my expectations was like, okay, I'm just gonna get this license and then I'm gonna make $50 an hour driving people on boats and my life is gonna be great. I'm gonna be tan all the time. And that did all happen. But
Yeah, I was like, oh, there it is.
it did all happen. But then I had the opportunity through like mutual connections to go and work on a super yacht in a there's seasons. So it was the Mediterranean season, which is the summer, and I had the opportunity to go and do it. And I was like, well, fuck it, like why not? I have a job in Italy.
It sounds like the Catalina wine mixer.
Yeah, it does.
Kind of.
You know what I mean? As far
Kind
as
of.
like levels to the
Yeah.
shit, like you said, it sounds like
It's the Catalina fucking wine mixer. Yeah. It's the largest helicopter rental event
Yeah.
in America.
in America.
If I don't lease
This is a
30
Catalina
choppers,
wine
I'll
mixer.
make my nut.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah. So below deck, they found me on Instagram and I had like my captain's stuff in my bio and they were just like, hey, would you ever consider doing this show? And I wasn't really familiar with the show, but I had the credentials they needed. And they were like, well, you're handsome and you're young and you look like you like to have a good time. So they kind of pitched me on it and I said no. For like the first several times. I had a girlfriend at the time and I like had a really good gig on a boat in Florida. And I was like, why?
Getting really tan.
Yeah, I was like, why would I?
If it ain't broke, don't
Why
fix
would
it.
why would I ever compromise this? But then it didn't work out with the girlfriend, and they called me at the right time, the right week, where I
Okay.
kind of had a fucking attitude, and they were like, hey, would you do this? What's up with the girlfriend? I was like, oh, I'm single. And they're
Let's
like,
go.
well, do you want to go to Italy next week? And I was like,
Oh, man. Okay.
one thing about me is I am very spontaneous. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, why not? So I literally was on a flight like the next week.
That's
and
wild.
Fast track visa.
was
Very
in
cool.
Sardinia. Yep. They helped me with the visa. They helped me with, all the things, documents I needed. I still had to, it was a little post pandemic. So they still had to make sure had all your jabs and
Gotcha.
everything. And then once the paperwork was done, I was just like, woke up and I was like in Sardinia, Italy. And, yeah. And then you guys have seen the rest of that. So
Awesome. Wild. What a chain of events.
I'm about to say, and now he's naughty fit.
yeah.
Go.
Now,
Yeah, I mean, my biography maybe actually could be called a series of events, fortunate or unfortunate, but it's just
you
everything
go.
The
just
nauticals.
happens. You just kind of like have something cool that happens, and then I'm just like, oh, I'm just gonna go follow this for a little while until it stops, and then you jump on something else or a new connection or a new network or something.
Dude,
absolutely.
you started in fucking Asia. I mean, you were born in Ohio. Shout out Appleton, but
Wisconsin,
Asia, dude.
Asia.
Ayahuasca.
No, not big thing in Thailand.
No.
No, a lot of rum, a lot of Thai
Big
rum.
drinking
A lot
culture.
of
And
rum.
actually,
All right.
Left seat, right seat with
cannabis, yeah. Since I lived there, marijuana was like nationally, I think recreationally allowed. So like the second time I went back, like after I lived there, I went back after I filmed in Sardinia. I was like, oh fuck it, I'm already
Let's
halfway
stop
there.
over there.
Yeah, let's hop over. It was like a 9-hour flight. It was not hopping over there.
Yeah.
But,
That point, like, yeah.
but I was like, all right, in my mind, I'm like, I'm just gonna hop over there.
Spontaneous. Let's go.
So I hopped over there and
Fuck it, we'll do it.
and I
live.
got there and everybody was smoking weed. I was like nervous because they were very like you could get arrested for
Okay.
having it and stuff when I was there.
Ooh.
And now everybody's just walking around. They're selling it in the streets and
180.
stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
like totally culturally accepted now. And I could be misspeaking. Maybe that's certain regions of Thailand, but I'm pretty sure it was a
Where I was, it was okay to smoke.
Where I was,
Yeah,
it was everywhere.
don't take my legal advice,
Right.
basically. I am not an attorney. I take zero responsibility.
Speaking
for
of
that
legal
kind
advice, are you a Packers fan?
go pack go. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Have
Are
to
you
be.
betting on them in the playoffs? We just lost the opportunity for home field advantage to at least have not home field, but to have a home playoff game. That has
Okay.
since been ripped away. Do you believe in the boys?
You're making me feel guilty because I didn't know like half of that stuff.
They lost by 2 points yesterday to Minnesota in a heartbreaker.
I do remember that was on, but I was in Naughty Fit meetings all day. So.
Okay.
Busy man.
But I'm a busy man, really busy
Business
man.
calls, yeah.
But I think that the young roster that they have is as good of a roster as I've seen them have in probably a decade. So I'm stoked about it. I don't know if this is their year, truthfully, because I just lost to the Vikings, and that was kind of hard to watch.
Right.
But they have my full support.
That's what we like to hear.
Any plans for coming back for April for the draft, even though Fort Lauderdale's been booming come that same week? It's 420, the same week as the draft.
Boy,
424 through 426.
If I can, I mean, if somebody wants to like host me, but I heard like Green Bay's like going to be
it'll be swamped. It will be
fully rented out,
Mhm.
fully,
even into Appleton. I bet you it's going to be all the surrounding cities. Like I think back caddying at the Straits when they had like a big tournament.
Yep.
Sheboygan sold out, but so did Milwaukee, Fond du Lac, everywhere, Manitowoc. They'd all
Like
just
hotels?
Anybody coming in is going to look for anything, and if it's sold out in Green Bay, where's the next closest place? So it will be swamped.
It's going to be pretty. I bet you Appleton's going to be crazy as well.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure College Avenue is going to be wild. Not really my scene anymore, but I could come back. That seems like a big event to happen in Wisconsin.
Right.
It'll be the only time in our lifetime.
Yeah.
It was just in Detroit last
So
year.
maybe I'll just roll up with a bunch of hats and
Put your
as a
right next to our tent.
opportunity.
Right next to our tent.
roll around.
You're doing it for a good cause.
If I can come to the dispensary tent and William Henderson, is he going to be there? Plug.
I would hope Will's there.
Yeah, for the draft. I mean, count me in, gang. Count me in, fam. I'm there.
It's coming quick.
The
Let's go.
dispensary.
It's coming quick.
We get
NFL
William
draft.
Henderson, we get the naughty man.
Stop by the tent. Stop by the tent. Get yourself a hat. Feed a kid.
Feed a
I
kid.
love it.
I love it, man. Handsome, smart, and very well spoken, dude. You're very humble off camera. You're same persona.
Clearly
on camera.
nonstop going.
Right. And to see that you're also one of those individuals that can't shut it off and you have purpose in this life, dude.
Yep.
Thank you for making time to join us, man. We don't want to hold
100%.
you all night. We got a session to get to immediately
Yeah.
following cameras closing. But thank you for joining us, Alex. Genuinely. You're
Rock
very
and roll.
successful, man.
Such
And we
a
want to see
pleasure.
you keep on going.
Appreciate the kind words.
Whether it's draft time or not, you're always welcome in Stu and or just to hang with the
I'll be
boys, man.
back when the temperature cooperates and starts coming up more towards my allowed, my budgeted temperature. I will
All
be
right.
back. I have to leave for January, February, but I think I can do April. I think I
Understand.
can do April. So Lord willing, I'll be back. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for
Thank
being
you,
here.
Alex.